evening to all of our wonderful viewers all over the world, and welcome to Niger Diaspora Movement. This is the platform where we advocate for good governance and the best of the best to lead our nation, Nigeria. Today's segment is all about question and answer, and we have one of the leading Labour Party candidates uh, who is vying to be the next governor of Edo State in the house. So we're going to take our time to ask him his manifesto, what he has for the people of Edo State come 2024, and how is he going to address all these issues. Before I bring him to the studio, I'm going to play a simple jingle from the candidate before we dive into the key program. Yeah, I think the video is unable to upload here. Okay, let's go straight to the question and answer segment. If you are wherever you are joining us from today, please share this video and subscribe to this channel. So whenever we come on your way, you can always get that notification of any program, because this channel is going to be really hot come 2024 Edo State election. This is going to be a hot channel. Let me bring him to the studio so he can greet our audience all over the world. Chief Daniel
Hello,
Matthew.
I don't know if you can hear me, but
I can hear
your
you.
mic seems to be mute.
My mic,
so I can't hear you at all. I can't hear you.
My mic is mute. No. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
If you can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I think you're having problem on your end. You need to, I think it's from your end, because I can hear
I cannot hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, but I think it's from your end.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, so my end.
It's from
apologies
your end,
about that.
Yeah, please introduce yourself to our audience before we dive into the question and answer section with you today.
Oh, very well. My name is Chief Daniel Igongo Akumoke Matthews, but I'm popularly known as Chief MD, which is good. I would like to say I'm very honored and privileged to be here today to speak to the wider audience. An apology in case of internet connection, because I'm in Nigeria and you all understand.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It's good to have you on this program. We want to give you the opportunity today, so you can talk directly to the Edolite, those who is going to be deciding, who's going to be casting their ballot to elect the next governor of Edo State come 2024. And you are seeking for the nomination of your party, which is the Labour Party, to be their flag bearer come 2024. Sir, previous candidates have made similar commitment to the people of Edo State. What sets your approach apart from theirs?
It's very simple. You see, the problem with previous leaders is not that they're not capable, or previous candidates, or even contesting candidates at this present time. I've always said in Edo State, we are not lacking of leaders. You see, the problem is, at this very moment, what we need is a visionary. A visionary that can take us from point A to point B. Leaders manage things, but visionaries take you places. This is just like Bruce Lee. Before Edo State was separated from Delta, so we have the Bender State of its own. It's a larger that compromised a lot of different people. But the good thing is, Bruce Lee was able to emerge and have a vision of what Bender State should be, from education, from so many areas. So as far as I'm concerned, presently, across all parties, those running, I'm the only one with clear vision how a functional society should work. what should be expected, what is able to be achieved at the least bare minimum level. And I've been saying about this vision since February when I started, about a vision, a sense of purpose with clear intention to bring about the fulfillment of Edo State to everyone, regardless their economic status, their relationship to power, anything. Now I can see a lot of people are now start using the word vision in their statement, purpose, or something like that. I started that in February. And secondly, I was the one that's also been talking about we have to revolutionize our education and medical health, public health sector. Now, I see people talking about education and public health. I have a clear sense of purpose and clear sense of direction where I think our education evolution needs to go through. Same with our public health. Education and public health is a fundamental human right. So compared to any other person, I believe I have clear purpose, clear intention, clear vision how to govern the state from a technical perspective and to the point of hope and aspirational, achievable perspective as well.
Thank you so much. Our wonderful audience all over the world, if you are just joining this program, our topic for today is a question and answer section nominate candidate from Labour Party in Edo State, the person of Chief Daniel Egongon Matthew. The louder name I can pronounce because I don't want to bite my tongue. I hope you can pardon me
it's
for
very
that.
easy.
That takes me to the Achomochen. Yeah, thank you. That takes me to the next question for sir. How do you propose to address the pressing issue of unemployment in the state?
You see, unemployment in Edo State is lack of investment, both from the private sector and most especially from the government perspective. When you don't have a leadership with a vision, you cannot create jobs. Some people believe government don't create jobs. Some total pure capitalist view will tell you government cannot create jobs. That's not true. Government can create opportunity for job and businesses to strive through investment, through training, through also capital support. I mean, capital support to organization, to startup organization, for small size, medium size to big investment in organization. Now, I would hate to say this, but actually, no, I don't. Actually, I will proudly say this, that even though, no matter what anybody think about Obaseki have a robust job program like no any other person in Nigeria, no any other government in Nigeria. It's job program where it's train people, young people for 6 months, technical skills, put them in a hotel and train them, and also try to assist them with employment and everything. No other state is doing it, only Obaseki. What I will do is to build on that. But the best way to create jobs in any given society is through capital investment with the public sector. Through capital investment in the public sector, allow businesses to grow and look at your taxation process. One of the pathways to increase investment in Edo State is what I call using the microfinance bank. Like most of the small businesses are the one at the engine room of any economy. If you look at the market women, the traders and everything, I will give them a credit line of about $1 million through my microfinancing. The reason is many of those small businesses, they have problem of expansion and growth because they have no access to finance. A woman that have a small shop in the market, if you go into her shop, by the time she tells you the total goods in that shop, it's close to give and take 200,000-300,000 naira goods. But the day she doesn't sell, the capital in that business, or God forbid you have an emergency, children sick or something, she takes out of the capital of that business, not just the profit, to meet up with other unexpected expenses. But yet she have goods worth 300,000 or more or less. Or even the small, medium-sized woman selling just pepper and meat on the side. But what the credit financing will do for them, or credit line will do for them, it will allow them to be able to expand and also meet some emergency need, which actually eat into the profit of the business. So through the microfinancing, what also I will also do is looking at the areas where we have shortfalls. We need to mechanize our farming industry. Like cassava processing, there's a cassava processing that's not fully functional because it was run by the state. I would give business loan or business grant to private enterprise to set up an industry with the mechanism of government being one of their biggest purchaser. For instance, let's say we open a cassava processing plant through the private partnership or social enterprise. All the medium-sized farmers growing cassava, trying to sell one or two cassava, we will buy from the processing plant and sell. Going to the hinterland and everything. That will create jobs for the people in the hinterland, even though it might be seasonal. On other industry as well, I will also give grants for businesses up to 100 million to have a mechanized farming. Sorry, excuse me. If we can feed ourselves and take care of our medical needs, we'll be a striving society. So creating job is, from the government perspective, is to create opportunity for social enterprise, for private enterprise to be able to invest with the guarantee and the support of the state. I also look at taxation. Do you know Nigeria pay one of the highest taxation in the world? Business rate is about 35%, and business tax, federal tax, it's about 35%, I think. State about 7.5%. That's too high. That's why so many businesses are not paying taxes. Those big corporations that are able to pay taxes, they live in the state, they live in the country, because the taxes is too high. Rather than doing that, I will give them payroll tax and reduce the state and federal tax. So that, or be able to, if I cannot force the federal government to reduce taxes on corporates on federal tax, I would subsidize the federal tax company so that they can come to the state, invest in the state, and then be able to function in the state. That will create more jobs. And they can also write off employment tax. So if they employ somebody, that's a tax write-off for them, even though those person is paying income tax, because it's double taxation. You cannot be taxing somebody for employing somebody, and the person you also employ also paying taxes. So it doesn't work. So that is the thing, just the basic thing. The role of the government to create the mechanism, the room, the finances for businesses to create employment. I will also look at minimum wage in the state, because you see one of the greatest problem of poverty in the state is the minimum wage level. I have to put a realistic amount on what you pay your staff per hour. Some people will pay you a flat rate, say minimum wage of 30,000 a month, but you're working 1,000 hours. By the time you break that minimum wage down, you're getting less than 50, 20 pounds an hour, or 30 naira or 50 naira an hour. It does not match for the length of time people are working and for the money they get it. So I'll look at hourly rates in terms of state. If you're in my state, you pay hourly rate. So if you want them to be there 24/7, fine. You pay them the hourly rate. I'll also look at the labor laws. You cannot keep somebody to work 7 hours without a break, and you should be paid for break. That gives people time to actually exist, not just work for work's sake. And if you have the space for people to work and have space for them to enjoy and entertain themselves, Henry Ford, the motor giant industry, more or less created the motor industry in America. Henry Ford, through the labor force, was able to, before then, we have 7 days work or 6 days work, long hours, no break. Henry Ford came about with 5 days work. And one of the philosophy behind creating 5 days work and 7 hours a day shift was because he realized many of the employers cannot even have the time to enjoy what they're working for. And in times, their lifespan got shortened. So he created 5 days work, 7 hours a day, and overtime pay. So if you work, you have 2 days, 3 days, or weekends to be able to enjoy the luxury you're creating or enjoy the work you're doing. So by so doing, looking at the hours people work, looking at their fair pay and taxation, it will allow business to strive. It will allow people who generate income to also be able to enjoy their income. It will also create job opportunity for a lot of people. Where one person is doing 60 hours a day, 60 hours a week, that can be reduced, but with a fair pay. And that's the way to go. So we're not exploiting each other. Businesses are not exploiting the citizen. And the citizen also having a fair wage to be able to survive. And also the government is not overburdening people with taxes. We have to look at the tax regulation. It's way too high for business to strive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That takes me to the my next question for you, sir. What is your assessment of the current administration of the opposition party in the state?
Current assessment of the I won't of the current government.
Yes,
That is the government of His Excellency Obaseki.
yes,
We know for the past 8 years of Tinubu, I mean, apologies, of Buhari, they failed in all ramification or yardstick you can judge them on. Failed in all yardstick. And we cannot look at the government or the current government from APC or PDP, whichever way you look at it. We have to look at it in isolation of His Excellency Governor Obaseki. And when we look at it from that isolation, because if we're to judge it by a party, as you said, opposition party, if we judge by a party, it's a failure, it's a catastrophe in any ramification or any yardstick you want to judge it. But if you look at it in terms of His Excellency Governor Obaseki in isolation, then you're beginning to see a difference. Because one of the things is, this is a clear example. I'm running to be a governor of a state. If you're going to apply for a job in a company, what do? You do a research on the company. You're trying to find out what the company does, what they are successful in, what they're not, what they're struggling with in relation to the role you're applying for. So what I've been doing the last few years, even before declaring on anything, I've been doing analytical research on this what I call it on this government. I've been looking at different areas of their success and different areas of their challenges. And as regards to Obaseki, this is what would shock you. I would say to you categorically, easy now, that Obaseki history is going to judge him well. And the reason why I would say that is not based on what people might think, if you like him or not, if it belongs to your party or not. Far from that. Why I say history will judge him well is very simple. You've got to look at the foundation Obaseki is laying. You see, Obaseki is laying a solid foundation in many areas, which I strongly believe in. That it will take the next government or the next governor that comes in to reap the benefit if that governor is a visionary and a man of purpose with good intention. Because what we have in previous government, and not just in Edo State, that a new government coming and all he wants to do is to abandon the old project, either good or bad, for whatever reason, what the previous government or governor have done. But let's look at Obaseki in isolation. Let's take education, for instance. Obaseki have Edo Best. Many people don't understand what Edo Best is for. Edo Best is a classic, simple way people don't see Obaseki and don't understand the foundation is laying. You know, if you're building a house, you buy a land, you lay a foundation, and you start building blocks by blocks. In government, it's a continuum. Obaseki Edo Best is to revolutionize the education system in Edo State, from primary to university level, including training, including job skill. Edo Best, if by the grace of God, when I become the governor of Edo State, this is the first thing I'm also going to critically look at, because my background is I'm a specialist in education and public health. I'm going to look at Edo Best and expand it. Part of my expansion in Edo Best is to also put target, performance-related target, using and also not just performance-related target, also embed inspection, build on what Obaseki has done with Edo Best. The Edo Best is to improve the quality of education and to improve the standard of education in Edo State. But the level I'm going to add to it is to put inspection, put target, and also put the finance based on target and performance, not just blatant free hands to people. That's one thing I know I'm going to take on board from this administration to improve on. Another thing people don't know about Obaseki is the public health. That is changing. It's the only Edo State that have that. I think mostly the civil servant seems to know more about it than the average person. If you fall sick, if you're in any situation, you don't pay more than 5% of your salary if you need any health needs. You don't get to pay more than 5%. Now, many public sector people have taken advantage of this. Many private sector, I will look into it and see how I can expand it in relation to my own public health policy. Well, I strongly believe maximum 3 miles. You cannot go beyond 3 miles to get a clinic. A walking distance to your house, you must have a social enterprise clinic. And my clinic will be combination of traditional herbs and the biochemistry, bio science chemist, I beg, hospital. I have a sister in Benin, to be precise. The mom have been those people who take care of women, fibroid sickness, children and women sickness, delivery and everything. She has so many cure, natural cures, fibrosis, pulse, everything, natural cure, and it works. I will not say because I'm so educated, I'm going to downplay the role of traditional herbs just to follow this medicine alone. I will look at combination of both, bedded in a chemist. So people don't go too far. And I think it's is or something is called that Obaseki single-handedly created and financing heavily. But what it needs to do is to take it away from the only public sector into a private, non-for-profit entrepreneurship partnership. Just like how you see people privately open chemists everywhere, the public health program Obaseki has, what I would do to improve on that is to allow private enterprise financed and supported by the state to open private clinic. Not big, gigantic hospitals, but private clinic in communities. Smaller clinic in communities. They might not be able to do major operation in there, apart from like general consultation, and probably possibility of birth, giving birth, but they will be attached to the nearest general hospital or nearest big operational hospital. All those private hospitals, big municipal, going to smaller clinics, community clinics. That's some Obasaki's policy. I will expand on that and look at the structure of it. It's unemployment. There's a place not far from Benin there where Obasaki have employment job training. It puts young people for 6 months, put them in a hotel, train them on IT, mostly on IT skills and everything. And they paid. And then help them to get a job. But what I would do differently from that is also train them to be an entrepreneur. Not just educated, skillful person. In Edo State, we have highly educated, unemployed people. But what they're not teaching them to be an entrepreneur. This is where my education reform will come into. Obaseki already laid the foundation to that, giving people free training, housing, training, and everything. But with my education reform, what I would do with that is also give them 1 million naira line of credit, entrepreneur loan credit. It means after you graduate from this technical college or this technical training, you can have up to 1 million naira to go set up a business at a low rate as 5% through the credit union I will create. You have to be a member of that credit union. You open an account, then become a member, have a business plan. You have an accountant or an accountant that will be attached to you working in the bank, helping you to guide your business, helping you to guide your finances. So I will add to that employment training program that Obaseki already started. And fortunately as well, I was able to meet one of the commissioner of Obaseki who is into the rural development. The ideal program she espoused, the Obaseki already financing, it tailored into my own vision. You see, we have a lot of people living in the rural area, the villages, because of lack of opportunity, because of lack of funding. I would dovetail on what Obaseki is doing, but I would do it a lot more robust, where I will actually move into rural area with sustainability program and finance, not just idea. The sustainability program is if you have a farm, 1 acre or less than an acre, or whatever a farm, you don't need to go outside that farm 1 million miles to sell your product. I will partner with social enterprise that will come to each farm, each area, and buy your stuff for repackaging or reselling. And that's so anybody in the farming business will pay no tax, no federal tax, no state tax. If you are in chicken business, farming business, crops, livestock, or anything, you pay 0 tax in Edo State. Because a nation or a society that can feed itself and take care of itself is a healthy society. So I'll let those in the rural area also have those same line of credit for farming, for developing.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you should need to reserve that comment. Let me move on to the next question. How do you propose to tackle the challenges of inadequate investment in roads infrastructure at both the federal and state roads, including issues of lorry causing blockage and damage the roads? How do you hope to tackle that, sir?
Let me take the first one about the lorry. You see, I remember when I was going to Uromi last time that I was around just a few days ago, and it's been like that for at least close to about 3-4 months now. You just see lorry block major road. When you get to my own village, when you get to Uromi, the O from Angu 90 all the way to Amedosha, Ukoni, and all those other suburban area, even the major road from Angu 90, left, right, and everywhere is blocked. Even the lorry are now double parking. When you ask, I even did a video that's on my TikTok page. You can go and check my TikTok page. Sorry to say, Chief MD1. Everywhere is blocked. It's hazardous, it's dangerous, and all these people in the their waste is piling up all across the street. Flies, malaria, and everything on different bacteria are just manifesting themselves. All the areas are smelling. And when you speak to people, they'll say it's federal road. When you speak to the lorry, they'll say the road is bad. But how did you get here? So this is the first thing I'm going to enforce. If the federal government will not fix the road, any truck that is part of federal government road blocking businesses, commerce, and movement of people, because it basically turn people into prisoner in their own little town. They'll be paying levy, daily levy, because if you cannot stay away from our federal road in our own little town, then you pay daily levy up to 50,000 naira a day. In order to stop that, I will also create at the outskirts of the town major lorry parks area where lorries where they can go and park and relax and wait, and they pay to park. That will generate money for that community. I'll create great so they can clear the backlog of the road. But the key important thing, let's take the federal road. When I become the governor of Edo State, what I will do, the first thing I will do about my 100 days in the office is to set a full legal team. Create a full legal team. I'll say go after the federal government on two fronts. One, for negligence, and two, for every accident that have happened for that on that federal road that they refuse to fix for whatever reason. They have to pay compensation for life loss, accident, property damage, both from the vehicle and the people in that area. Go after the federal government, sue them. Now, if in the case whereby you're going after the federal government for a federal road that's supposed to have been fixed, and they say they've given pay to this contractor, we go after the contractor for no delivery of funding. Let the contractor and say this road, the federal government said it's 100 million, and the contractor is saying they only pay me 10 million, and that's the best I can do with. Then we expose everybody. I will go after federal government for life loss and property damage on every federal road. In addition to that, I don't care if federal government does not need to give me the permission to fix the road in my state. Regardless if it's a state road or federal road, I will fix it and send the bill to federal government and put charges on it on every delay they did not respond on a weekly basis. And I'll take them to court. That's what I'll do with the federal and state road. But another thing I also will do, one of the greatest problems in Nigeria, specifically Edo State, is maintenance culture. Now, you spend 100 million to build a road. You give it to a civil servant whose salary is about 30 to 50,000 to manage a 100 million project. It's not possible. They're going to defraud the maintenance money or waste it because that's not their skill. They are civil servants. What I would do, every road that is being built, I'll make sure it's built to a specific standard with drainage. I don't know how you build a road without drainage. Where do you want the water to go? With drainage, with proper drainage, both state or federal road. But this is what I'll do. I will give it to private enterprise, private businesses to maintain the road with government contracts, like they do in every civilized world. And that giving it to a private enterprise to maintain the road is also a way to create employment. If it's a state inner road, let's say my little area, let's say my little town in Amedoshan right now. Let me say my little town in Amedoshan. The state, the area in that Ahmed Ocean, I'll give it to local community people to manage and maintain. And those local community leaders will also employ people in that community to also employ people in that community to maintain it. So that way, the jobs created, maintenance culture is developed. I will not leave it to the civil servant, because the civil servant may not even live in the community you tell him to maintain the road. So dealing with state and federal road is one thing first. Set up a legal team to go after the federal government for all life lost and property damage on federal road. As regards to state, any road that has been commissioned, given to somebody to do that does not deliver, we will go after them as well. The reason why we have to go after them is to deter people from future corrupt means. Because most of the problem is this, is that once a contract is commissioned, I don't blame the company or the contractors. Before you can get the money out of the state, you have to pay half of that money back to the state or to the civil servant in charge of that the running that project. Okay, which you know go bring cola, then they'll be moving your file all around till you settle. By the time you settle, money not reach to do the project. And that's why most of those contractors end up not doing anything. And the civil servant that's supposed to be inspecting them, holding them accountable, because they've collected some of the money, they can't do that. So this is what I would do as well. I will give private citizens the power to sue the state or the contractor for that road, for that project. If, for instance, your street in Amedoshan, where I'm from, the major road there, that Angu 90 road all the way past my family house place there, the contractor is Johnson Johnson or whatever name. And I know this contract has been awarded and been paid, because every contract, I would have a dedicated website that publish every contract, the contractor giving, the amount of that contract. You can go into that page, get that information. If that is your street, you must be a party to the injured or the victim. That's your street. That road has not been fixed, despite government says it's been paid out. You sue the contractor. You people on that street can bring a class action suit against the contractor for negligence, for damages. And once people can sue contractors, I know fully well, contractors now become careful. And I also want to give contractors getting government projects have the power to sue the government. Because sometimes when the project is being given to a contractor, those civil servants that are supposed to pay the file and pay for it, they sit on it until contractor pays them or give them some feedback or what you call give them cola. But this is what I'll do. Every contractor that won a contract, when the contract is being won or given to them, there's a deadline of payment and structured payment. If that payment has not been met by the state, they have the right to sue individually in charge of the department. And they have the right to sue to cover their legal fees, their time wasted, and everything. So once they start suing departments, let's say the department of the Commissioner of Roads and Transport, who signed off on the contract, and their money did not come through, or the money that came through wasn't worth the value of the contract, the contractor have a right to sue. And if somebody collect bribe from your hand and they did not, you also have the right to sue them after that. And this is the way I'm going to use to hold the civil servant accountable. Any civil servant that collected bribe or sit on a contract without allowing it to be delivered, I will tie it to their pension. If you are prosecuted, accused and prosecuted for collecting bribe, you lose your pension. You lose your job, you lose your pension. In order, you see, my mom used to say, where there is no law, there's no sin. If there's no law against collecting kickbacks and there's no punishment to it, then it's not a sin, it's an expectation. But if you start tying civil servant performance to their pension in terms of corruption, that will immediately drop. It may not eradicate corruption totally, it will drop, and then it will put efficiency in the system, because they know they can lose their pension. Because if a contractor push a law case against any civil servant, say, the reason why I've not been paid, if they can prove it, or the reason why my money is in law It's because I won't pay this civil servant money. This is the request or whatever. Or in a situation where a contract is 100 million and then the contractor wasn't able to deliver to the best of it, and then the citizen, the indigents, or the resident of that area now sue the contractor. And the contractor now came out and said, no, the contract is 100 million, but I only got 50 million. Where is the rest of the money that was awarded? The contractor have the right to sue for the rest of the money or point the hand to the people who demanded the money from him, and then they are both accomplished. The civil servant that collect the money will lose their pension, lose their job. The contractor, regardless what he has paid, he will have to refund the rest of that money and be sued with taxes on top.
Thank you so much. These are all brilliant idea. But before we move on to the next question, I have a question from Ari A. Castro.
Sorry,
it's from our audience.
Sorry, I want to change my glasses. Apologies. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. I have a question from the audience for you. Before we move on, let's take this quick question. He said, we have seen so many governors come and speak English, but nothing has been done. What are your plans to tackle the road and insecurity in Edo State? That's the question from Ari Castro.
Very good question. Ari, very good question, and I appreciate that question. Ari, this is the thing I want you to know for a fact, right? I'm a different kind of governor. When I become a governor, you'll be extremely proud of me. I'm going to also dovetail. Let's take security, for instance. This is where people need to give Obaseki a little bit of credit. I've been saying this as part of my own strategic plan, that I will train special force, or call them vigilante, I'll call them special force, dedicated to one thing and one thing only: rescue and destroy. They are there to rescue any victim of kidnap and definitely destroy any kidnapper. In situations where some kidnapper will come from other states to come and operate in my state, Edo State, and keep their own family far away in whatever state, or even some of them in Nigeria, I will use this special force to hunt them down. Any village that apple them, that village will be destroyed. If they're in my state, any village, any house, any church, any mosque, any shrine that are about kidnappers, that shrine, mosque, church will be destroyed. And if they happen to run to a different state, this special force, I would spend any money possible to protect them, both legally and any means possible. I will order them to go after those kidnappers, whatever pathway in the forest they pass, trace them to the last place and destroy them. Because the life of one Edo person worth 20 and to the last generation of any kidnapper. So what Obaseki have done, my idea of doing that, which I've been saying since February, Obaseki have now just inaugurated 1,500 special force. If you've been listening to me since February, you can go to many of the interviews I've been doing. You will hear it there. Obaseki inaugurated about 1,500. I will double that. Edo State government get 950 million naira for security every month. This is what I'll do. The 3 senatorial districts, Edo North, Edo South, Edo Central, I will put minimum of 1,000 professional special force. Their job is not to set up checkpoints. Their job is not to be looking for little petty stuff. Their job is security, armed robbers and kidnappers. With the central command in Benin, I will dedicate 100 million every month to the special force. I will also give them a special pension plan that if they die in the course of doing their duty, their family will be paid minimum of 10 million, minimum. So they know they are secured. I will also help them invest their salary so that they have bonds going on while they're working. They're not going to be there for 100 years. Age of this special force maximum will be 5 years. Maximum 5 years. They leave, we have training going on all the time. Their job, like I said, is to rescue and destroy. and I will use all the legal powers of the state and the finance of the state to protect them. I will eradicate kidnappers in the state within the first 6 months. And the first thing I'll do within my first 100 days when I become the governor, I will call all the security heads in the state, police, army, every one of them, and I'll give them 1 week. Because you've been there, I'll give them 1 week, come up with a plan or resign your job. 1 week. Another thing I will stop, which is very common. If you catch a kidnapper in Edo State, for instance, somebody will call from Abuja and say they should release or they should bring that kidnapper transfer to Abuja. Before you know it, it's a dead story. I'll tell you and I swear with my hand on my heart, whoever released that kidnapper who has killed one Edo-like person, that person will pay with their life. I don't care whose security that person is. Whoever ordered that person, the kidnapper, to be released or brought to Abuja, that person will never enter Edo State and leave Edo State without paying the consequences with their own life. Like the Moses law, an eye for an eye. Because what people don't understand, kidnappers have no mercy. They extort people to the last or kill. Now, just imagine a kidnapper killed a father. That father is the breadwinner of the house with about 2, 3, 4, 5 children. Some of these children might be very young. Some might even be in our institution. You've destroyed a generation. I know a story of somebody who is the only child that was kidnapped. Until today, they can't find that child. There's a Labour candidate a few years ago, before the current disposition of election, who was running. He was kidnapped. Till today, they've not been able to trace that person. In Edo State, my state, that will not happen as a governor. I will find to the last hole the kidnappers and those associated with them, and I'll make sure they are destroyed. I'm not saying destroy in the sense of prosecuting them to the court. It's jungle justice. Yes, it might sound radical, it might sound bad, but say that. Go and meet somebody whose family has been kidnapped and they've not seen to today. Go and ask the person whose family have been kidnapped and they totally sold everything, they destitute. Go and tell them that, ask that family, is that good? That you don't even bother catching kidnappers. Kill them. Because their goal is to extort and kill. That is what that special force will do. And your second question about the roads, I believe that's the second question.
No.
If I'm correct.
No, the question was your strategy. And yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think that's it. That's fine. Let's move on to the next question. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next question. The next question for you, sir. As an expert in education and public health, what is your assessment of the current situation in Edo State?
Right. I'm an education and public health specialist. I've kind of mentioned a couple of the things Obaseki, His Excellency, have successfully laid a solid foundation that it need a visionary, not another leader, a visionary to build, capitalize, and take it to the next step, which I'll do. In the current situation in Edo State, let me start with Nigeria. Over 70% of Nigerians, adults, cannot read or write. In a country of 200 million, that's over 140 million. That's a lot. In Edo State, about 43% of children at the age of 15 plus cannot read or write. 43%. Majority of the students that start public schools, after or even during their public school, drop out of public schools completely without furthering after public school. We are close to 60% who drop out completely from further education for various reasons. One is because they could not finance it. That's one. And three, because they're not inspired to go any further. We need to change that. So in education, we need to put proper investment. What I am personally doing, and I realize also in education, which part of Edo Best I need to also improve on. Close to 40% or more of I would say close to 70% of the teachers, most especially in the public schools, are not well trained, they're not well educated as a teacher. Even
think you have a network.
Some hello, I think we
Yeah, I can
lost.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I
Like
can hear
for
you.
instance, my niece is a teacher in a private school, and trust me, she has no teaching qualification, but she's helping. They need it. So what we do with that is retrain or train our teachers who have qualified teachers, because garbage in is garbage out. So in education, we have to look at training. That's one of the things, even with or without me running or becoming the next governor, I've already invested millions in training 2,000 teachers in Edo State for free. I'm paying their full college fees and their accommodation, because I see a huge need in that. 2,000 students I want to finance, 10 from each ward. We have 192 wards, 10 from each ward, to train them to become a teacher. And I pray out of these 10, if at least two return back to that ward, to that little community, to that little village, it's a success story. So that's my dream, because I feel like Edo Best needs some other support. When I become the governor, I will expand on that. And every teacher that return to their community where they're from will get special package where we're most lacking. And we'll talk about the public health. As a public health specialist, we're not lacking of many professional people in the medical field. What we need is opportunity for them to practice, an opportunity for them to expand. I'm going to focus on community clinic, like I've said, just like in a civilized society. Community clinic, not the community. I'm not going to go out there and start building community clinic myself. It's not efficient and it's waste. There's a lot of people that can open community clinic, just like there's a lot of people opening psych chemists. Obviously, you have to be a doctor, a qualified practitioner. I would partly fund it by opening up the state insurance. Any community clinic, anybody that's going to open a community clinic must sign up to that state public health organization or state public health authority, in order to do two things. Like my younger sister died because of buying fake drugs. I lost my mom because she didn't have adequate access to care, not because of lack of money. Simple thing like oxygen, breathing machine, and everything. So if you want to open a public clinic, a community clinic, you have to sign up with this state-owned organization. It's a non-for-profit. What you do is all your drugs, all your medical equipment, you buy from them, they supply you. The reason why we know the quality of the drugs you're buying from us will be genuine, and we also can use a bulk purchase power. Say paracetamol, for instance, on the street is about 100, 200 naira. Number two, you don't even know how much, I don't know the genuinity of that. But once you buy from the state, if you're part of the program, once you buy from us, you'll be buying at the rate of 20 naira. But we're not going to allow you to sell it at any rate you want. You buy at the rate of 20 naira with the markup of 2% maximum on top, 2-3%, maximum 5%. But we'll put the price tag on it. You can only sell it no more than 25 naira. And it's genuine. So it means in that community clinic, you cannot buy from us as well. It will be illegal and a heavy fine and prosecution, criminal prosecution. If you buy 20 naira from us, you decide, rather than you selling your clinic for your patient, you decide to take it to another state or somewhere else to go and sell at 50, 100 naira. That's a criminal case. Your medical equipment, we can buy in bulk to reduce the cost and sell for negligent or sell for minimal amount to you, so that you can be fully equipped to serve the community and the people. And then, in order for you to make it profitable, I won't say profitable, in order to make it sustainable, we ask only members, if you can afford to pay 1,000 naira, say 1,000 naira to many people might be nothing. If you can afford to pay 1,000 naira, 12,000 naira a year to cover the cost, regardless what treatment, from cancer treatment to any kind of treatment, you wouldn't pay more than 1,000 naira a month, 12,000 naira a year. And this is the kicker. Employers, companies who pay that medical insurance for their staff can write it off from their tax, state tax. So if you have people working for you and you say, okay, I'm 10, 20, 30 people, you're part of this program, we pay your yearly insurance, medical insurance, it's a write-off for them. Individuals can also get it and pay themselves. And if they're private organization or small scale business, they can also write it out of their state tax. They can deduct that money they pay for that medical insurance out of the state tax. So that's the thing. So we can, if you can educate your people and give them good health and feed them, you have a thriving society. And that is the goal. That's just a minuscule strategy. I have a robust plan to go beyond that. I don't want people to steal all my idea, because His Excellency Governor Obaseki has already stolen two of my ideas. And I'm also going to build on some of the great foundation he has laid. And I'm saying this. I'm not a Labour Party person. I'm an Edo person first. Obaseki is not a PDP or APC person. He's an Edo person first. And as a true ASA man that I am, when I say a good thing, we say it. When we see something that is not so good, we encourage it for it to be better. I believe history will judge Governor Obaseki well. Depending who comes in after him must be able to carry and build on the foundation he has laid. And I believe I'm that person with the vision to do that. There's many areas. It's economic reform. It's a brilliant thing. On paper, if you read it, on application, if you see it on process, if it could be achieved, it will reform Edo State for good. It's energy reform plan. You see, like I was saying, other candidates may not have taken time to study Obaseki, what his government has successfully achieved or what they are working on and struggling with. I have. You don't go and apply for a job and without actually doing your own research on the job you're trying to go for. That's why you see all these candidates, they talk in cliche. We're going to have good road, good security, good this. How? Based on what? What is the process? And look at any of the candidates across every platform, every party. I'm the only one who is telling you this. The Obaseki is laying solid foundation for the future. Unfortunately, only have 8 years that it cannot benefit or reap. But the next governor coming in, who is a visionary, who's a man of sense of purpose and clarity, who believe that the promise of Edo State is for Edo Light, to bring about the fulfillment for Edo Light. A promise that a good education, a good public health is a fundamental civil right. Obaseki already laid the foundation. Edo Best and the East insurance thing. Employment job, rural development. He has this structural laid down. Government's a continuum, regardless the party. I will build on that. Not only would I build on that, I will expand on it in areas I feel like it should go. And then I'll bring on my own fresh ideas as well. And like the gentleman said, oh yeah, I had a lot of people come, they speak English and this and that. That's fair. Because those are leaders. And those are politicians. I'm not a politician. I'm a humanist. I never describe myself as a politician. I'm a humanist. I'm a compassionate human being. I care about people. I'm interested in the development and growth of people. I'm in love with the people, seeing them change for good. An opportunity open doors for them. That is why I'm a visionary, not just a leader, a visionary. Like Moses, I've been to the mountaintop and back. I've seen the face of God, but I'm taking somewhere to a promised land, flowing with milk and honey. But I say unto you today, I, Chief Daniel Egongo Akumoka Matthew, I am telling you today, and take my word, I'm taking you to a promised land where education and public health is a fundamental right. I'm taking you to a promised land, not just flowing with milk and honey, but a promised land where security of life and property and equity and justice is a fundamental right. I'm taking you to a promised land where it's not just flowing with milk and honey, a promised land that a child in an inner city or a child in the little minuscule village of Otugbe like myself can dream, can have a vision and a passion and a sense of purpose that one day it will be somebody greater than his generation. One day he can dream as I am saying, I want to be the local council, the local chairman. I want to be an engineer, the doctor, the pharmacist, the lawyers. I want to be the governor of Edo State. I want to be the president.
Thank you. Let me cut in there while we move on to the next question on my list. What strategy do you suggest to rectify the inefficiency within the public sector? What strategy are you going to bring on board?
The inefficiency in public sector is poor management. There's no two ways about it. Have you been to many of the ministry? Most of the time they're shallow. They're just hollow. Where are the staffs? Many of them barely turn up for work. When they turn up for work, they're very inefficient because there's no target. They're not target driven. And then you don't let people come to work for 30 days. They're not paid. And they're not adequately paid as well. What do you expect? What do you expect for somebody who's not adequately paid or paid on time to be efficient? First of all, I'm going to look at a pay structure. I'm also going to give them the power to be able to sue the state for lack of payment. Why? And why? How can you come to work for 30 days? At the end of the month, you're not paid. They have the power to form a union and sue the state government for lack of salary. But secondly, you are not going to work as a civil servant under my administration where you don't show up to work. Where you don't show up to work. You come at the time you like, you leave at the time you like. Not under my ministry. That will be changed. I also create a special task force that will look at ghost workers. This is the thing I don't understand. How do you have ghost workers? How do you have ghost workers? I also look at their job description because some of these people are just there through friends, through connection, through that. They go into the job without any job description, without any responsibility. They are just there collecting salary. That will change. With target, with some levity of persecution, and with some constant review. But the thing is also with job training. Many of these civil servants are undertrained and overwhelmed. We need to change that. So to bring efficiency into government or civil servant job is to set clear targets. Let me give you a good example. If you want to get a state ID, let's say driver's license, it takes about 20 to 30 days plus. What is the delay? Can you not make it efficient? Can you not just go into the DVLA equivalent or motor vehicle place and get your state ID on the same day? You have your BVAS, you have an NIN, you have your bank details or anything relating to that can prove your identity. You should be able to go in and get your state ID. And every person that turned 18 in Edo State will either have a state ID or a driver's license. Regardless if you are born or not born in Edo State, if you're in Edo State, in order to actually manage the resources and distance, you get a state ID or a driver's license as an ID. And now what I would do is to make them like what we did. One of the training we did when we went to one of these African countries that I helped deliver is to make those public sector be commercially efficient, not necessarily public profit making like private business. Commercially efficient means based on productivity of their outcome based on the level of service quality provided, they will get more money. If they're not proficiently delivering commercialization in their department, they will get closed or the manager will be fired. You start firing from the top. Most of the problem is when there's a problem in the department, they fire from the bottom. If you are the manager, the leader, the group, or whatever, the director, your staff don't come to work, it's because you are not there. If you don't show up at work on time, close at the adequate time, then why would they be there? Who can even challenge them? What time are you supposed to resume work? You are just strolling at 12 o'clock. And by 2, 3, you already left. Whereas the director, the general manager is not even at the office all day. I will show up to government department, ministry or department, state government department unannounced. I will also have my commissioner. They're not going to be sitting in their comfort of their office and go to your department, work from your department, show up. Commissioner of Education that stays in the office, whereas their schools, you are not inspecting to go see what are their challenges, what are their needs, and what is going on. Inspectors that don't inspect any school, road safety that doesn't go anywhere and see any road. Those kind of people will be called to redress or fired. You see, that's the point. I'm not going to look at people's time in the public sector. I'm also going to pass a law because the law that I'm going to pass in the state is to most especially the permanent secretaries. The power to remove a permanent secretary must be given to the governor. Because there lies the biggest corruption in the state. There lies the abuse of power in the state. I'm not going to look at tenure. I'm going to look at outcome and productivity in terms of commercialization of practice. not profit making. You cannot be the head of a whole department and the permanent secretary of that department, and that department is a total failure. Their productivity is low. There's ghost worker. People barely show. If I come into your department and I realize unannounced, and most of the time I'll come with a private car. I'm not going to come with all the strapping of a governor. I will send people to different departments to go and investigate as a customer or a client. Once I get my feedback, I'm there the next day to fire the head. If you want to kill a snake, you cut off the head. The rest will sit tight. And that's how I'm going to reform the public sector so that they start producing for the citizen of Edo State. Because if they fail to produce, the governor will look bad. Look at the education reform of Obaseki, Governor Obaseki. The private sector needs to push it. The public sector needs to do their part. Obaseki cannot be the one running around with that. Same with his public health thing. Same with his job employment thing. The people there are either inefficient or not capable, or they're overwhelmed or not properly supported. Because many people in those states don't even know about the public health insurance Obaseki is giving out. Many people don't even know about the Edo Best. Many people don't even know about the free job training. But you have commissioners, you have directors, you have a lot of people in that area that needs to actually reach out to people. But they're in their own comfort zone. That needs to go. And that's how I'm going to reform the public sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your beautiful analysis and how you are going to cover most of the lingering question issues surrounding our state. How do you plan to enhance rural livelihoods in order to discourage the younger generation from migration to cities or leaving the state entirely?
How to enhance rural livelihood? It's a
Yes.
simple thing, because I come from a generation of migrants. My great grandfather moved from Ewehimi to Omodio. My grandfather moved from Omodio to Odugbe in Amedosha. And my father moved from Odugbe in Amedosha to Lagos and beyond. And likewise, I have traveled the world. I've seen the greatness of every place and the foolishness of it as well. And the circle have evolved back. That I've moved back to Edo State, to Odugbe, where my grandfather started from. I have history in Odugbe that's over 400 years with extended family. When I say family, I'm sorry, the family, the combined brothers. Hello?
Yeah, I
Can you
can hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I've come to now come the full circle that come back to that same village where my grandfather once stood, walk on the ground he once worked, feed on the ground he once fed on, and do a lot of things. Now, to stop people from leaving the rural area into the city or completely out of the state, even sometimes out of the country, is to provide sustainability for them. Also, an opportunity to live comfortably. If we don't address that, migration will continue. And I'll keep going using Amedosha as a classic case example. Go to Amedosha or most part of Edo State, the inner towns, the city and everything. You'll find three generation kind of people. Very, very old people who are been there, come back, or some people who have retired back home, and young generation of people, younger, who don't have the capacity to leave the state. Then in between, you find a lot of non-indigenous of Edo State, of Amedosha. Let me take Amedosha for instance. They're from different diverse places of the country. Some of them can't even speak the language or not even interested in integrating. Because the middle-aged children of those old people or their own immediate children have left the state, just like my dad did. And all of us that he gave birth to, 10 of us, never went back to the state. So it means there's a generational shift. And same with those parents that are left there, their children that is able to live are also living at the speed of light. But you now have an influx of non-indigenous occupying, taking a lot of space, that the traditional Amedoshan people will die off if reverse is not done quickly. And this is a threat to our way of life, our culture, our identity. This new set of people In our major science, they're not learning the language, they're not trying to assimilate. So what I would do as a governor is this. In Edo State, from year 1 to year 3, in education, you will learn the local language. The 4 local language spoken in Edo State will be compulsory. Compulsory for everyone. And every child under 18 will be in compulsory school. If you move to Edo State, you cannot say your child is not going to school because it's not your culture or tradition. Then don't come to Edo State. Your child must be in school, not on the street begging, not going to an alternative school. He or she is going to go to standard school where they will teach them standard education, but in the local language of that area. That's the first thing I'll do. Another thing I'll do is to encourage people to speak their language and teach in that language. Simply because the ability to speak English is not a true test of knowledge. It's just a language. Like my cousins and nephews that are in Edo State, they speak fluent. They speak very fluent Asa. But when they go to school, you start teaching them in English foreign language that they're not familiar with. You understand? They first of all need to learn the language, able to understand and comprehend the language, and then able to speak the language before even learning the subject matter you're trying to teach them. Why not teach them the language they're familiar with? And teach them English as a subject, not a prerequisite of knowledge. English as a subject, ESA, the general language, and every other language. By the time they get to year 4, 5, 6, then I'll teach them the national major language, the major spoken language, Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo in Edo State, so that they can communicate with other people easily. So in order for me to stop the rural people from leaving and some people taking their space, it's also I'm going to create income opportunity for them. The way I'm going to create income opportunity is what the foundation of Basaki is laying down with this commissioner lady that I met through the rural development. It's not just enough creating roads for them. It's also creating means to sustain themselves. By creating good roads, allow them to be able to go to town, come back, stay in the village. But what I'm going to do is not bring. I don't need to bring big factories to those places. It will destroy the ecology of that place. It will destroy the fiber of that place and the groundwater. But what I can do is to set up through rural development, set up a market space for them, where the government becomes the central buyer for their product. If they're into farming, create opportunity, give special grants for children of those villagers to go to school, higher institution, because public school will be public and free. I will get social enterprise to go into those areas to create schools which will be financed by the government. Most of those local villages don't even have schools. Some that have schools are underfunded, lack of teachers. But what I would do, rather than me building more school, I'll give a non-for-profit organization to open schools in that place. Follow the standard curriculum that will be set by the education commissioner. They will open schools in that place, educate them. Those social enterprise schools will get fees paid. I will also create entrepreneurship for them so that they don't need to leave the rural area thinking there's a greener pasture anywhere. And even if they left, they want to always come back home like I did. They always want to come back home.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me move on to the next question. What are your philosophical views, economic governance? Are you a capitalist or a socialist?
You see, there's the thing, because in every government or every civilized society, even America want to tell you that they're the biggest capitalist society. You understand? All the Western world want to say they are capitalist. Yes, it's true. You see, in a capitalist society, number one, there's no society, no government practice full capitalist society. I can tell you for a fact, Nigeria is more capitalist society than America and most of this Western society that's trying to preach capitalism to us in Nigeria. They have a bigger social welfare. In UK, they have a welfare state. In America, they have a welfare state, and also they have a special funding for the military. They pay for the housing, the medical, and everything. That's a welfare. In Britain, they have social benefit. Across Europe, in Sweden, or I think Sweden or Norway, they have one of the. In Sweden, they don't even pay for school fees. That's the welfare. That's
Sweden is a socialist country.
You see, that's what I'm saying. But the pre-capitalism to us in Africa, privatize all your entity, privatize your oil sector, privatize your distance, privatize the private. Even some private entity want to come into Nigeria in the public health, privatize all your health clinic, all your health stuff and everything. Let's come in, we can do it better. In England, they have NHS, public health. They would not privatize it for no matter what money, even though every successful government that tried to go through that route have always failed. So capitalism is to say that the government does not involve themselves in business. All they do
are you a socialist or a capitalist?
I'm not a socialist, because as a socialist, there's a limit to socialism. And even in Sweden, you say they're not pure socialist country. They're not. In socialism, or when you look at socialism in its own form, it's government providing some basic fundamental of the state to meet the need of the people, but government also controls some chunk element of the state. That it also deprived in its initiative innovation in the capital market in the society. Because when government carries too much of the burden, people don't take risk. They don't innovate. They don't try to improve things or change things. Communist is a bad word, where government own everything and try to take care of it. It's not possible. I'm a social capitalist. I'm a combination. That's a third way. I'm a social capitalist. I believe in government playing their responsible role in providing safety, security, care, education, training. And I also believe in private enterprises investing and developing and making money. So as a governor, I'm going to play both roles to help private enterprise and private people make money.
I don't think there is any such thing as a socialist capitalist. It's either you are a socialist or you are a capitalist, or a socialist who believe in the idea or the ideology of a capitalist.
Okay. Let me bring. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
You might not think there's a social capitalist third way. Look at China. China have more billionaires in population size. Yeah. Look at China. Have more billionaires than anywhere in the world. The speed of economic growth in China today, the West wants you to believe that China is a communist country. That's a big false. That's a big lie. Alibaba is a billionaire. It's a Chinese man. There are more billionaires in China than anywhere else. China operates a social capitalist society. Every week they're building new roads, they're building new railway, connecting the states, the province to one province, building new roads, new rail tracks, they built a whole airport overnight. Look at what happened during the COVID. They built a whole new hospital within a week. They're building new cities. That is a role of a socialist participation, but they also align private enterprise to strive and make money. So when I say social capitalist, I'm a social capitalist. I will give grants. If, for instance, Edo State, 70% of Edo land, arable land, are not properly farmed, mechanized. Instead of me as a socialist, go and take the land and start farming it for government, that would not strive. I will give grants and loan to private enterprise to farm it. Like we have one of the richest things we have in Edo State is cassava and palm oil. I will give grants and loan for private enterprise to create an industry, a mechanized industry to do the red oil, palm oil, and the cassava processing. The worst case I would do is to make the state a stakeholder in it. Look at, for instance, now the government, the federal government under Buhari said each state can generate their own energy. The state can't. Because even though if we do that, we cannot run it. You put a civil servant in charge of managing and running an energy company in Edo State, their salary is 50,000, and the income of that plant is about 5 billion a month or a year. What do you think is going to happen? But what
Thank you. Let me stop you there. Thank you so much for that. Let me just play a quick video.
And this is His Excellency. Amen. God is going to be the next governor.
Amen.
Amen. Even the next president.
Amen. Amen. I claim it. I claim it.
He's not a boss, but he's a leader. Amen. There's a difference between a boss and a leader. And I have a vision to put this state beyond.
Amen. I happily and humbly accept the endorsement. Thank you. So it's a prayer.
Last week you were endorsed by one of the political guard, the political bulldozer, the former deputy chairman of Labour Party Edo State, the person of Chief Dr. Patrick Osagie-Magbon Eolo. In your own opinion, how does this endorsement translate to vote?
Every endorsement or backing by anyone, from the giant of somebody like the ultimate equalizer, as I call him, the Honorable Chief himself, is a great mark of moving towards that goal. I must say, I wasn't expecting that. A day before I went there with a couple of friends that I met through this campaign. I would like to mention them. I called my own personal favorite person, Pastor Azena, and one other gentleman, Mr. Ernest, I forgot his last name. I took them to go meet him. I suggested that we are friends. We all have the same idea and principle to make Edo a greater place. So why not just go and hang out with Ultimate Equal to have a drink? We hung out, spoke to us. We all have a party, went to separate ways. I wasn't expecting, I wasn't seeking, I wasn't anything. But one thing I know about Ultimate Equal is a man of principle and integrity. It just will not endorse you because you know him or not. It's a clear man with vision and sense of purpose. It's a human rights activist. It's a fighter of an average Edo man for the poor, the needy, the sick, the helpless. I know Ultimate Equal as a man that will put his life and risk his resources for what is good and what is right for the average man. I know Ultimate Equal as a man of high integrity, that you cannot buy his moral consciousness, neither can you compromise his integrity by offering him anything. He does not need anything or want anything from anybody, but he wants the best for Edo State. I know Ultimate Equal as a friend and a brother. Through this process, I've never gone to him to ask him for anything on my behalf or offer him anything. Nothing. Every time I go to Ultimate Equal, it will feed, it will drinks, it will water. Every time he begs, stay in my hotel, even though my house is not too far from, stay, let's chill, let's hang out. And he interviewed me, asked me question from question, and I kept on wondering, why all this? And not once has he asked me, if you win, what would you give me? Or what would you do for me? Not once. He's always asked me questions. And I just take it as a personal inquisitive, not like necessary that, oh, any special thing. He always asks me questions about issues. He knows too much that it shocked me sometimes. When you talk about education to the granular level, when you talk about economy to the granular level, when he talks about the security to the granular level, and I keep thinking, why are you not in government? You know this much. You know the problem. You know the solution. And I listen with keen interest, and I realize his interest in politics is not from the perspective of politician. His interest in politics is from the welfare of the state, of the citizen, of the care and concern of the average man. And where he came from, he understands the struggle of the average man. He understands the pain and the burden of the average man. And he has seen the failures and challenges of the average man. So he cares too much, too passionate. So you can't go to Ultimate Equal and offer him money. He has money. I offer him position. He has exceeded in everything. Nothing. The only thing you can offer Ultimate Equal that I will accept is a vision of a greater Edo State, that somebody is coming with a sense of purpose, that all this is concerned, would that person have the compassionate heart and care, and is willing to work for it, and he has a plan to go through it. Ultimate Equal have met them all. the good, the bad, the ugly in politics. So for him to come and stoop to this low me to say, come, I want to endorse you. Initially, I didn't take it. As a matter of fact, I felt a little bit embarrassed. I said, I love your ideas. I love your plan. You listen very well. You're very, very accommodating. Even though you have your own ideas, you're very accommodating to listen, learn, modify. And I'm saying this with my hand on my chest. You can go anywhere and ask. Ultimate Equal has not asked me for anything, and I've not offered him anything. We've never had that discussion. We just talk as a friend, and I go and seek his advice, opinion when I have any ideas about some issues or some things concerning the welfare of the state. I call him sometimes. I speak to him. Same with CP Ibadin and many other people, even some other candidates. Like Barrister Monday Boigbe, it's a candidate, it's a contestant. I call him and seek his advice and express my concern. Barrister Monday Boigbe, that's one person as well. And I've never gone to them for their advice, to support anything, apart from just listening and sharing ideas. Same with Pastor Azena Azena. The first time I met Pastor Azena Azena, I knew, even before I met him, something ministered to me and said, this man is your brother. Seek him out. The first time I met him, I hugged him. And we became automatic brothers. And I never, even within our discussion up to this point, I never asked them for anything. They've never asked me for anything. We just talk as brothers. But Ultimate Equal, I know. People may seem like a radical man who is always trying to knock the head of people to wake up. But what I see in him is a compassionate man. A man that cares. A man that is worried about his state and his citizen. Wondering what's going on. These leaders, this so-called political oligarch that are sitting and oppressing us, do they really care? Do they really even actually want to lead? Do they have any purpose for us, the citizen? But Ultimate Equal saw all that in me. Not only am I a man of vision and promise and purpose, I'm a man with a clear plan to take you to that promised land of fulfillment, where a child of nobody can dream and have a vision of a greater Edo State and bring to fulfillment. You see, a man that cannot dream can never have a vision. A man that has no vision will never have a purpose. A man without a purpose, when I say man, I say a person without a purpose, that including women, a purpose cannot have responsibility. And a person without responsibility is good as useless. And it starts with wanting dream. And the state have the responsibility as a governor to give people the opportunity to dream greater, to create the opportunity for them to build and dream greater. And in this present state, among all the parties, everybody have come out contested. I'm not trying to be funny. I say I'm a man with a vision and a purpose. I'm not running because I feel entitled. I'm not running because I think it's Esa man turn. I'm not running because I feel like it's my right, like a Milocom mentality. No. Sorry, excuse me. I'm not running because I feel it's a Milocom mentality. I'm running because of sense of purpose and the urgency of now. The urgency of now, before we lose a lot of generation. That is what people like CP Ibadin, people like Kururu Okoje, people like Egbas, people, Honorable Egbas, people like, of course, the ultimate equalizer, and many more other people that actually remain nameless, to the like of the Prestige Club, and so many other things. But so far, and so many other backers. They see, they believe, they convinced. I know
Thank
people.
you so much. Thank
Sorry.
you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have discussed covered so many of your vision, your purpose for your beloved, before our beloved state. There's one thing that is really important in achieving all that has been said by you. Money.
Yes.
How are you going to get the funds to execute your project? One, I want you to answer the both questions together because of time. Two, I also understand that you'll be giving a scholarship to students. Are you going to cover the costs for the scholarship? Are you going to get source the fund to take Edo State to the Eldorado of our dream?
Okay. Number one, when you say funds to execute my project, are you talking the campaign project or the state project?
Yeah, when you become governor, that to execute, I
Good.
mean, everything
Let me just take
fund
that.
is
Number
required.
one, if I don't mention Barrister Richard Ofeimu, it will be a dead crime because Barrister Ofeimu is the very first person that said, I will back you with everything. And I wanted to keep his name out of it because I've mentioned some people. I don't want it to feel offended. Barrister Ofeimu, you're my brother, sir, and I love your mentorship up to date. I'm very proud of you. Now, let's look at Edo. Edo generates minimum of 4 billion every month, apart from other security money, apart from other remuneration from the federal government and everything. Now, this is what I do. We don't need foreign investors. When we have a lot of millionaires in Edo State, if, for instance, I want to build a road, I don't have enough money to build it, I'll give it to the people like Ray Roya. It's an engineer, it's a builder. I'll give people like Ray Roya, say, okay, Mr. Roya, build it. This is government bond. State, we're going to create state bond that average people can buy into the bond. It's a guaranteed bond with declared interest. That bond will be traded off and the money will be used to execute the project. Hello, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
I can
I'm
hear
going to
you
give
now.
Ray Royal, someone like Ray Royal, a bond and say, Mr. Royal, build this bridge. This is the bond. The bond is that it guarantees you that if you build it, you can either put it into execution or you can use it to finance the project. That's the one way to do. That's how to generate money. But let me go back before that. There's another better way. Out of the 1 billion, when I talk about the public health, for instance, out of the 4 billion Edo State generates, I will dedicate 1 billion every month to the public health that I create. And that public health will self-finance itself by people signing or paying their subscription fees of 1,000 a month. But I put 1 billion every month for equipment, for drugs, for training, for expansion. That's 1 billion. I'll put 1 billion every month into education as well. Because I want to that 1 billion I put into education. I'm also going to put another 1 billion in the microfinancing. The microfinancing will also sustain itself by going through when people graduate after 2 years of college, they take an enterprise loan with 5% interest rate. They pay that interest with their loan back and they trade with that. So without even borrowing money. Now we have private enterprise who say, there is this road in my village that has been bad. This is the road. Rather than them going through a long bidding process that is so corrupt process, I'll say, right, this is buy into we have a portal for all the project needed. They can buy into the project. They don't need to bribe anyone. They buy the project. This road in my village, in front of my house, from the beginning to the end, we put drainage, we tie it properly, we use the bond. Once we deliver, we collect on our bond. That will speed up the process quickly. I still have about another billion plus other remuneration coming. That will be financed through in-house. Like federal road, for instance. If the federal government won't do it, I will do it. I'll do it to the maximum standard. And I'll put a toll gate in it. Let federal government come and stop me unless they pay me fully. And with any federal government vehicle coming through that road will pay tax, including me going through it. As a governor, I will pay the toll fees as well until the money is repaid. I'll give it to private enterprise to run it because the public sector can't run things like that. I'll give it to private enterprise to run it. But this is the kicker, right? You say I will finance it. I will finance it with partnership with private enterprise, with government investment. That's how we finance it without borrowing any money and leaving a huge debt on our state. Just like the former governor of Anambra did, bankrupt and loot the state dry, and now he lives comfortably in America, in a country somebody else sweat, some people sweat and build. Like what the outgoing governor, the governor of Delta State, borrowed over 300 billion to finance Atiku campaign. Who's going to pay for it? Generation to come. I'm not going to do that. Before I borrow a money, outside from the state. I will create government bonds where ordinary market woman can invest in it with interest rate coming back to them, and we trade with it. Another thing I will do with the pension thing, when pensioner, the other day, Obaseki now agreed to pay 28 years old backlog of pension. No, that should not happen. These are people who have worked. They paid into it. What I will do is to have a separate pension board that is run as a non-for-profit, totally different and independent. Government will be contributing towards it, and people will be contributing their pension. And their pension board will be able to invest with the money contribution, building property, buying stock, trading and everything. And government will be the backer of it. So when time for people to claim their pension, they're not home and dry without no money. And some governors sit on their pension money and everything. That will not happen underneath my administration. I will also make it a criminal case so that you cannot stop people pension money at old age, not paying them. As regards to the scholarship I'm giving, that's fully paid for. A scholarship for teaching education is a combined qualification. You get a teaching qualification in biology, or teaching qualification in computer science, computer program, or teaching qualification in any field, but it's a combined qualification. The reason why I focus on that is simple this: I'm a child of nobody. If not for education, by the grace of God, if not for education, I will not be here today speaking with you that I want to be the governor of Edo State. Education transformed my life. Education is the only equalizer for most people like me that came from a grandfather who is a farmer, a great-grandfather who is a farmer, a grandfather who is a traditional healer and a farmer, and a father who is a pastor. Not this modern day pastor, I mean old school deeper life pastor, first grade to deeper life pastor. So if education have not been available for me, and if education have not allowed me to travel the world, I will not be here. So education is the biggest equalizer. And it's the reason why I also realize in Edo State, we have teachers that are not properly equipped or properly trained. That's why I invest in my own personal money. The 2,000 student scholarship fee already been paid for through my private corporation, already been paid completely for. Hence the reason I'm begging every Edulite, all the ward chairman, it's non-party thing. People want me to leave it to only Labour Party people, or APC, PDP people, other party. No, they shouldn't. No, they are all Edulites. Each ward, I've given each ward 10 scholarship sponsorship for teaching education. 10, total of 2,000 thereabout. Already paid. I'm paying for their full 3 years degree. I'm also paying for their accommodation. All they need to pay is only the registration fees and 12,000 naira every year. That's it. The rest is fully paid for. That's my own private. I'm doing that regardless I win or lose. I know I'm going to win, but I'm doing that regardless I win or lose. That's why you go to Edo State. You will not see my billboard anywhere. An average billboard cost is about 1.5, 1.2 to 1.5. That's enough to change 3 people's life forever. What is the lifespan of that billboard? 3 months, 6 months? Gone. But 350,000, each of those student costs is about 350,000. 350,000 you give to one child, one teenager, one family. It will transform their life and their generation forever. Just like mine, as education have changed my life. Hence the reason why I'm doing that scholarship. And when I become governor, I will incorporate that scholarship for teaching education in the Edo Best, which is Excellency Governor Obaseki have already established. And I'll put my own private capital into supporting it. And I'll hope to encourage a lot of other successful people to support that, the scholarship scheme. And that is the way I'm going. That is my vision. And that's why people like Ultimate Equal endorse me openly and happily. And I feel most honored and most privileged.
Thank you. The last question before I give you 2 minutes to address our viewers all over the world. The last question is, should you not be successful in securing your party nomination, would you support any other candidate, or would you,
or what?
Or would you just move to other party like everyone, like other politicians?
No, it depends. And I've said, when I went to the state headquarters, and I made this very clear to them, right, that if I feel that some of these politicians, oh, sorry, I apologize for some weird reason, my, right,
Yeah.
some of these politicians, like I said, let me just quickly digress. You know where the corruption is in the way we select our leaders? It starts from the grassroots. How did somebody like Tinubu able to get to the position where he's president today? Because start with one thing: at the delegate level, are these the delegate chosen to choose the party nominees? Are they credible people? Are they representing their constituencies, or are they there for their own self-interest? The party officials, did the party officials actually care who is representing their party? Are they this credible? Are they credible people that they cannot, their morality cannot be bought, their integrity cannot be bribed to be compromised? Their honor and their value, it means a lot to them. That no money, no offer can make them compromise that, and they go home and tell their children what? Then the officials above that. Tinubu was able to corrupt all those processes, allegedly, to become the president today. Same with what happened in PDP. This is the reason where I'm going. This is where Peter Obi left. We have a gentleman agreement across Nigeria today that when it comes to this election or governing, it will go to the south, it will go to the north. When it's time to come to the south, a gentleman agreement that is part of the constitution of all parties. Atiku was able to break that gentleman agreement by bribing his way through it, where dollars, according to our former governor and His Excellency and now the Senator, Oshiomhole, dollars were still smelling after that drama of Atiku. It compromised it to the point where the most credible person that could have come out in PDP, thank God he left, became a Labour Party steward. When Peter Obi was in PDP, he saw the direction and the abuse of the privilege and honor the average citizen gave to the delegate and the party officer to represent them. He saw his integrity is more than that. It's not going to compromise integrity by joining the rat race, by trying to bribe people to buy their moral consciousness, or try to bribe people to compromise their integrity, or try to offer people things to make them forget their value and their true nature. I, Chief Daniel Matthews, I'm a true son of the soil. If you cannot support me based on the value of what I espouse, based on the ideology and vision of what I espouse, if your support is based on me being able to bribe you, to compromise your moral consciousness, to buy your integrity, to throw away your value and principle, if that's what it takes for you to support me, then I'm not your candidate. If I find myself, like I told the party officials at the State House when I went there, and I made it very clear, I'm not going to bribe or offer anything to compromise your integrity. It's an insult on you. Me coming here, I know many other candidates have come, they've dropped millions after they've spoken, and it's good, please take. But I'm not going to do that because I want you to believe in my vision that I'm going to deliver a greater Edo through my vision and my purpose, not because I can buy your morality. And also discover when I started this journey in February, I met so many people, and I was doing the traditional thing, not actually fully giving dough and everything to all these officials, and some of them I can mention him, and I will mention him if needed. I'm not afraid. Like I said, I'm not a coward. Coward die 1,000 times. And I'm not an hypocrite that's afraid of my shadows. I also see the same people that I gave money, that seeing them running after other people because other people have given them more money. And I realized about money. So this is what I said at the party office, that if I feel the process is not kosher, if I see that the candidate being pushed is obviously the one that has given the most, if I see that the candidate being supported, like what happened in Imo State, General Collins was the one that has the captive of the youth and the likes of Labour Party. General Collins has the heartbeat. The only contest that who Uzodinma was really afraid of, because the youth, the public love him, just like the way they love me. But the party went for a Methuselah, which some people are accusing that he got money from Uzodinma, or possibly not, or what? Let us put rumor aside. They went for a Methuselah. And now they're struggling for relevance in a state they could have won easily, in a government that majority people don't like, Uzodinma. A governor majority don't like. He goes to church with ammo tank. How bad you are so afraid of your life, you go to church with ammo tanks. For the people you're supposed to be governing, you're afraid of them. Why? Labour Party have opportunity to turn Imo State to Labour, but they went and chose Methuselah. What happened? I did a good research. I spoke to a lot of people. On the day before election, Uzodinma was leading. Suddenly, the Methuselah came and bought all the delegates, more or less. And they voted against their principle, their morality, their consciousness, and the word that sent them to go and vote. If I find myself in that position, if I see that's the direction it's going, my mentor is Excellency Peter Obi, who stood on the grounds of morality and integrity. I would do exactly what he did. He left PDP. He joined Labour Party. Before Peter Obi's Excellency joined Labour Party, Labour Party was an unknown party. Irrelevant party. Today they have a governor, a senator, a House of Rep across Nigeria. He joined Labour Party out of principle. And that Labour Party that he joined did not ask him for penny or anything. They listened, they had his vision and his sense of purpose. And he said, we give you our ticket. Even Patumi stepped down for him and said, lead us. Can the state replicate that? Can Edo State Labour Party replicate that principle, that honor? I've met the state chairman. It's an admirable human being. It's an integral human being. It's now in his hands to make sure the value which he stands for, the honor which he upholds, the principle that guide him, he delivered a good, clear pathway for the righteous person chosen by my ancestor to come through. If otherwise, I will find a vehicle that will accommodate my vision, and I promise you, by the grace of God and my ancestor, I will deliver Edo State.
Thank you so much.
I bring the promise to fulfillment.
Thank you. Well, now you have 2 minutes for your closing statement. Address our viewers all over the world.
To all Edo State, to all Edolite, and the lovers of Edo State and the Edolite. My name is Chief Daniel Gongo Akwimoke Matthews. I'm a true son of the soil. My original family started from Owehimi. We've now reside in Odugbe for the last 400 years. My name is synonymous, a double barrel name that when you get to Amedoshan today, you will find an extended family. My mother is from Ukon, a neighboring town to my father, who's from Odugbe. I've come to you to serve you, not because I feel it's a Milocom mentality, not because I see political opportunity that is a labor state, or as an opportunity for me to capitalize that is God from ASA. I come to you to serve. I didn't come to you because I have a wealth to throw around and compromise your integrity, your values, or your honor. No, I've come to you to serve. I've not come to you to tell you cliches. Like many of the other candidates, they come in and say, oh, we build good roads, efficient government, all this blah, blah, blah. No, I've come to you to serve. I've come to serve you just like Jesus Christ come to redeem human. I've come to serve you just like how Moses led the Israelites to a promised land. I've come to serve you with a clear vision and sense of purpose. My desire to come serve is not based on self-glorification, but the need and the compassion heart to bring the adequate change that will eradicate poverty, that will eradicate public health poverty, education poverty, standard of living poverty, that will elevate the society, to bring us all to a better place where we become secure and fully sustained, that we don't even need to leave our state, our little community, to strive. If you are expecting me as a candidate to bribe you, to give you money to vote for me, I'm not your candidate. Because I will not want you to compromise your integrity, your honor, or your value. Because if I was to do that, that is the very first thing that I would do when I get into government. You have no share in my government because I've already paid you. But if you give me your vote and your time, I will be forever be accountable to you. And if I don't deliver in 4 years' time, you can vote me out because you've not compromised your integrity or your value and have not bought your moral consciousness. But I assure you, if you give me your ears, your hands, your vote, I will deliver on education reform. I will deliver on public health. I will deliver in security. I will deliver in rural and urban regeneration. I will deliver in all the roads that are damaged, spoiled, neglected by the state and the federal government. Within the first four years, I will tidy up all the roads. I will sustain the economy by giving social enterprise investment. They are giving private company grants to expand. They are giving market women credit line to sustain them because the engine of every society is the small scale business. And most women are the biggest trader in any society. Go to any market in Edo State. I can assure that 80 to 90% of the people there are women trading. I will secure their health and I also secure their finances by giving them the credit finance. I will expand Edo Health program that started by Obaseki that will cover those who are in the private sector, like my aunt, like my sister that have a clinic, like our staff, like my cousin that is a vigilante, Jonathan. I will cover all that underneath that healthcare problem, under healthcare insurance. I will protect your family by creating a strong vigilante team, a special force that will go and rescue or destroy kidnappers and armed robbers. This is what I promise to give you in return for your vote. In return for your vote, I will make your life safe and secure. I will make your child to be able to dream just like me, that one day, a son of nobody, with pure sheer hard work, focus and discipline, and the grace of God, can dream for greater tomorrow, can dream to be the governor of Edo State. I, Chief Daniel Egongon Akumoka Matthews, I am the next governor of Edo State. With your help and support, just like how the greatest equalizer, ultimate equal, endorsed me, I beg for your endorsement and support. Help me. And in return, I will transform your generation to come. God bless you. And God bless Edo State. And God bless me too. Amen.
Thank you so much, my dear brother. Honestly, I am amazed with what you have to offer to the people of Edo State. My prayer is that may God allow you to succeed so that this vision of yours will be translated to reality for the people of Edo State that deserve it. I also want to use this opportunity to reach out to every Edolite, no matter where you reside in Nigeria, in diaspora, wherever. Look properly into the manifesto of this our brother and make your ultimate decision, because Edo deserve better. At this point, I would like to say adios to everybody, and the program is over. Thank you, my brother, for being a guest on this program again today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege.